In this video presentation we will discuss the first section of the piece Moving Objects, a piano piece arising from the collaboration between pianist Kate Ledger and me. My practice, strongly influenced by Pauline Olivero's work on the breath, explores how the changes in the performer's breathing can be used as strategies to regulate certain aspects of the piece, to enhance the performer's awareness of their breath, and to foster situations that may not be under composer's control. Moving Objects explores how the player's breath can be shaped by a set of objects the performer interacts with. The first section includes a task in which the player's airflow causes movements of ping-pong balls that are placed on the middle register strings of the grand piano. The balls react and push the performer to respond and adapt their breath according to the emerging situation. The resulting sounds are the combination of the performer's breath and the movements of the ping-pong balls on the strings. Breathing is constantly adapting according to the way the ping-pong balls move, and likewise, the ping-pong balls move according to the changes in the player's breath. The way the ping-pong ball is used was namely as a means to foster the interaction with the performer. It brought to light a set of questions we aim to address through performance. What tasks could be explored to unravel different interactions between the performer's breathing and the ping-pong balls? What type of sounding results would emerge from the interaction between the performer's breathing and ping-pong balls, and how the resulting sounds reflect this interaction? To address the first question, we experimented with two approaches: a set of shapes to be formed by blowing on the ping-pong balls, and time limits for each shape. The choice of shape aims to set a goal that the performer should achieve throughout the performance. The performer attempts to form these shapes within the given time limit. There are 9 shapes, and each of them are formed within a different time limit. The realization of such shapes is strictly related to factors such as the weight of the balls, the vertical development of certain shapes, and the inclination of the string board. Some of these shapes are difficult to be formed properly. However, our interest was not in the achievement or failure of these tasks, but rather in the situations that arise from the attempt of forming a certain shape. In the initial sketch, time limits marking the end of each musical event were more contained, ranging from 45 to 90 seconds. After trying them out, we chose to exaggerate these time limits, extending them to 180 seconds and contracting them to just 20 seconds. This gave us the opportunity to enhance the differences between the different moments, pushing each task to more of an extreme. For example, where the restrictions are tighter, the performer's reactions are immediate and frenetic, and so dynamics are loud and consistent. Where restrictions are looser and the performer has more control in terms of breathing, there are more pauses in between sounds and dynamics are softer.
These differences in sound represent the ways in which myself as the performer must adapt in this music. The breath is my tool for completing the tasks. Depending on the aforementioned parameters of shape and time limit, they interrelate to the movements involved and consequently the sounds heard. It is here that reveals the relevance of a Feldenkrais practice, where to develop an awareness of the physical functioning of an action is to improve it. The changing combinations of shape and time limit create the differing moments of music. Some are restricted and compulsive in their action, some are free and more expressive. For example, the fifth shape is not difficult to create, mainly due to the inclination of the strings in the piano and the 180 seconds of time. When I arrive at this shape, I realise that I have lots of space to complete this task. There's no rush or panic, and in fact I'm able to be expressive as I form the shape. This is an example of Feldenkraisian spontaneous movement, where the boundary I've been set is fair, and I can fill the space with a conscious freedom. My breath is more than capable here, and so my movements are controlled and calm.
Here dynamics become very soft and there are many pauses and moments of stillness. Upward and downward chromatic sequences are much slower, they are combined with soft percussive sounds of the balls. The amount of air projected by the performer is sometimes very limited and generates very small movements in the balls.
Conversely, the sixth shape is more difficult as it goes against the inclination of the strings and must be completed in a much shorter time limit. I dive into this task with compulsion, using all of my energy to move the ping pong balls. My breath is less capable, and my supporting movements are unconsciously directed to wherever seems useful.
The vertical line and zigzag horizontal line last 75 seconds in total and involve much louder dynamics, more consistent blowing, and chromatic sequences become more rapid. And in some cases there are tiny vibrating sounds of the balls shaking between the strings. There is a musical management to these differing energies. The way the shapes and the time limits are arranged in the score produce significant differences in terms of sounding results. As a whole, the piece becomes an example of a changing state of consciousness in the performer. She is either reacting spontaneously, expressively and consciously, or she is reacting compulsively, actually and unconsciously. Starting from the interaction occurring in moving objects, we might consider questions that may be explored in further pieces. Could the score instruct the player on how to change their breathing according to certain reaction of the objects? Is there a space in between conscious and unconscious reaction that we might further explore? Can this changing state of consciousness be shaped by explicit constraints on breathing? And how would that result in terms of sound? how may these changing states of consciousness apply to other parts of the body? For example, if creating a particular shape with a limb, or focusing on a particular aspect of a sound. How could we witness the adapting body when the focus is directed somewhere specific,